Is this drinks with friends, or what an economist might call social consumption? And what happens when it stops?
It's clear that COVID-19 will have a huge economic impact, but what we don't know is how long that impact might last. That will depend on the spread of the virus, and we don't know how severe the hit might be. That will depend on what closures or behavioural changes are needed. What we do know is that the effects are already being felt right now.
Kate Nicholls is from the UK's hospitality industry body. They noticed the fallout almost immediately.
The first 2 months of this year was hotel bookings and cancellations of group bookings from China and Southeast Asia. They were down 15%. Over the last week, what we've seen is businesses moving in advance of the government action plan and taking steps on social distancing, cutting business travel that's unnecessary, stopping business meetings of more than 20 and recommending that workers work from home. That means in London and other city centre locations, you've seen a dramatic drop in visitor numbers and footfall. Footfall is down 30%.
According to Oxford Economics, about 40% of consumer spending is linked to social situations or crowded areas. That's not just hospitality, but transport, travel, culture and some retail.
In the last 48 hours, it's as if somebody's flipped a switch, and you've seen bookings that are for the future being cancelled, but also no new bookings coming down. So in hotels, events, music venues, nightclubs and restaurants where you have forward bookings, they are down 50% for the next 2 to 3 months, and there's no signs of new bookings coming through. So really, hospitality is the canary in the coal mine.
The trouble is, the conventional tools for boosting the economy may not work well with this. A lower interest rate can't get people into work if schools are closed, or make them less wary of crowds.
Well, the odd thing about something like the coronavirus, assume that it has a big effect over a 3-month period and then goes away. You might expect that to mean, well, economically we'll have a difficult 3 months and then the virus is gone, so why isn't the economy back where it would otherwise have been? Well, it might not be if the result of that is a whole slew of businesses go bust in the meantime because they've not been able to fulfil their orders, or because they've made big losses, or banks have foreclosed on them because they've not been operating. In that world, you can have a long-term effect, because if the businesses are gone and the jobs are gone, it takes quite often a long time to rebuild those.
So how might the Treasury be able to help? Some options could be a way for companies to pay tax bills later or over a longer time period, support for smaller businesses through a financing scheme or loan guarantees, or measures to support struggling households or boost consumer confidence. It's a challenge for the Chancellor just days away from his first budget, a budget that was meant to be about infrastructure investment, the environment, and helping worse off regions. It could be very different.
So the government wanted this to be a levelling up budget. Do you think we're actually going to get a coronavirus budget?
You'd normally expect the first budget in a parliament with a big majority to be a big budget with a whole lot of announcements, but clearly it's going to be overshadowed by coronavirus. But don't forget, of course, this Chancellor's only been in post for less than a month, so he might actually quite like the idea of having a little bit longer to think about his big priorities. And he's got a second bite at the cherry this year. He's got another budget coming up in the autumn, when we'll not only know much more about coronavirus, but we'll also know much more about the Brexit trade deals.
The government's commitment to its fiscal rules was already in doubt, in particular the pledge to balance day-to-day spending in 3 years. The chances of a change have certainly risen. The knock-on effects of coronavirus, from pubs to public finances, are only just beginning.